As you can see, this video is really long, so I have provided timestamps and chapter markers in this video. If you like to jump to a specific portion where I have explained something, feel free to use the timestamps in the description below. And I know this video is long. If you don't have that attention span to watch the entire video, then please don't waste your energy commenting on it. Before I start this video, I would like to mention there's a disclaimer that this video will contain sensitive topics such as talking about my past trauma, relationship struggles, suicide, and mental emotional instabilities and self-harm. And for TLDR, this video will also mention about the whole timeline of events, which will be given with the screenshots, which will be used to provide a clearer picture of all these events and how we got here. And also I will be releasing the names of all the individuals who are involved in the situation because they have been feeling safe ever since they have destroyed my entire life. First of all, some of you may not know me. Hi, my name is JoqniX. I'm a constellation VTuber from India. I have done a lot of projects and collaborations in this community where I have actively collaborated with Indian VTubers, both independent VTubers and corporate VTubers, and also helped build space for all Indian VTubers to connect with each other. And I was also someone who had been actively helping all VTubers with their technical issues. And I have made a Discord server for Indian VTubers so that they could collaborate together and hang out and have fun together, called IN VTuber server. You may have already known what I have done for this community. If you haven't, you can look it up. On August 16, 2025, Mythic Whales posted a document against me, which contained a lot of screenshots about the events which happened on 2021. And the document marked me as a predator. In this very space I have built, along with the people I trusted and called friends. Just to clear out the elephant in the room, there were no minors in this whole situation. There were 3 people who were involved in the situation. First person was Suzuki Zuriko, who was 17 at that time, and second person was Memyu, who was 18 at the time of when the conversations happened, and the third person was 1 year older than me. Her name was Aimi, and it was a relationship I had on 2024 of July. She was 24 at that time, and I was 23. The document mentioned that I was 20 in 2021 and I was grooming and being a predator towards 16-year-olds. That claim is totally false, and I will be providing proper screenshots and a different proof of all the timelines of why those screenshots exist and how it got taken out of context, and give a proper clarification on why this happened. And I will also provide the correct context because the document Mythic Whales posted says that I approached these individuals in a sexual manner, but that's not the real truth. There's a lot that happened, and there are no other victims or individuals other than the 3 people I mentioned, that is Suzuki Zuriko, Memyu, and Aimi. There are no 4th person or 5th person involved in this, as the Mythic's document regarding JoqniX stated that there are more victims other than the 2. That is false. There's no one involved other than the people I mentioned here. Those are the 3 individuals. Also, one more thing I would like to mention about Aizen, the legal advisor who is in my Discord server, who spoke in behalf of me and such. I would like to clarify that Aizen is not my legal advisor who is representing me or my law firm. He is just a random person who I gave mod to, and he does not legally represent me in any shape or form. Anything he has said in the server are fully his own opinions, and I do not condone those messages or I back up his claims. He is just his own person speaking on his behalf, not mine. So on August 16th, 2025, I was doing a live stream. It was a collab stream with a group of friends where we were playing Dungeons of Dragons. The collab started at 6:30 p.m. in the evening. And during the collab, I get Discord DM message in my own server, in my staff channel, where one of my moderators, Celestia Void, messages in my staff channel saying that she wants to leave the moderation team and everything. And while I was in the collaboration, I responded to the message and said, removed her role and everything as she requested. And after 10-15 minutes, I get a DM from one of the moderators of INV2B server, which was Kyra Ordos. She DMs me telling me to join a VC, a group DM VC. We have a group. Since I was the person in charge of the INV2B server, they asked me to join a DM call with Fuji Everest, Kyra Ordos, and another INV2B moderator, which was Celestia Void. So I mentioned to Kyra that I cannot join in the meeting right now because I'm in a collab, and this Dungeons of Dragons collab will last for more than 5 hours. But she said it was really important, so I asked my collab host to be for myself to be excused, and he gives me the permission to be excused, and I joined the call with Kyra and Fuji, who were in the call at that moment. Celestia was supposed to join us. She joined later on. So I joined the call, and during that time, I was live on my channel. So in that call, they asked me a lot of indirect questions, and the tone of everyone, Kyra and Fuji, were super serious. And I felt like weird, and I felt like under pressure where everything was too serious. And they asked indirect questions such as, what would you do if you're an adult and you talked weirdly to a minor and stuff? And I didn't understand at the time why would they ask such question, and I'm in a collab, and it was too much for me at that time. After they asking such questions and me giving my response to it, then Fuji changes his tone of speaking to an aggressive manner, more of a serious manner, where he confronts me saying that, Joq, I heard that you did this with a minor and stuff. That immediately shocked me, and I was like confused and not understanding what's happening. Like, why would I do that with a minor? And I immediately mentioned, like, I have not done that. But Fuji was persistent. He began to say that I have evidence and everything. And I asked for the evidence because I know myself, I'm not that someone who would do that. And he says that you want to go that way. You really want to see the evidence and stuff. Because I truly trusted Fuji and also Kyra and the moderators of INV2Wish. And I just let it happen. I just didn't ask for the proof at that moment in that call. Because I was also confused. I was live and they are seriously asking me and confronting me like this. It is a situation where I never want to be in. And during the call, I did mention that I may have done it in the past, but the incident which happened was apologized mutually and solved. And I also had mentioned to Fuji about my relationship at that time on 2024 with the third person who was mentioned in my statement document I released. I also had mentioned to Fuji about my past traumas as well, what happened with me and how I had taken therapy and everything to heal from it and everything. But Fuji was hesitant and reluctant to hear any of that. He was directly confronting about, did you did this or not? Say yes or no, and like direct questions. And it made me uncomfortable. The way they were speaking at that time made me super unknown and weird, which caused me to just accept and admit to that I did it. Because I really wanted to just get out of that situation. So I just said I did it without even knowing what I did or what's the proof. So I said that, and Fuji and Kyra asked me to leave the INV2B server. So I left the INV2B server myself. And then they said the conversation is over. You can leave this DM group as well. So I left the DM group as well. And before leaving, I said my thank yous because to me, those three individuals, Fuji, Kyra, and Celestia, were someone who were there with me and guided me a lot. I trusted them a lot. They were good friends to me. And I felt like once I'm seen like this flag, like a predator and stuff, they'll just eventually cut me off and block me and stuff. So I took my time to thank them for everything they have done for me. And just after that, they asked me to leave and I left. Then I began to leave all the Discord servers I was in, all the VTuber servers, because I felt like I'm the criminal, I'm the guilty, I'm at fault and everything. The way they made me feel like that. So I felt like I shouldn't involve anyone else. I should take everything on myself. And I just left everything, all the DM groups and everything. And that's how it started. And after a while, I started to feel hurt and I started to cry. And then I realized I'm still in the collab. So I asked the collab host that something happened. I'm sorry, I won't be able to attend the collab anymore. And I ended my stream and left the VC I was in the collab with as well. And then I realized I haven't understood what was I guilty for properly. How come they know that I'm a predator and everything? Is it because someone wanted to bring past incidents right now in 2025 and cause an issue? So I asked Kyra to give me the evidence. They said it will take time. And I mentioned that even if I had done it in the past, I am not that same kind of person. And Kyra mentions that, are you still that person? And what can you say for defense, senpai, and everything? Then after 10 minutes, I checked Twitter because I get notified in my phone. I see a tweet by Mythic Whales where there's a Google document talking about me that I'm an active predator and I've groomed people and everything. And there's 2 victims who came out and everything. And that's how everything started on August 16th. That night was the night everything started to crumble. Everything I have built, every friends I have made, everyone turned against me and started to believe that document. I had taken my time to read the document while being emotionally and crying and everything that day. And I understood who was the reason this incident was brought up in 2025. So the first individual, Suzuki Zuriko, how I met her is I met her during December of 2020. That time I was new to VTubing and I discovered about Indian VTubers because I found a VTuber whose name was Virtual Sakura. I joined her streams and I was an active viewer of hers and I started to join her community server and that's how I met others such as DGSG, Mangle State, and also I met Suzuki Zuriko there. And I also had met Meowcat Max as well there, who were also supporting Sakura at that time. And that's how I met Suzuki Zuriko, who was a new VTuber around the time of December of 2020. Initially, I was scared to talk in Discord VCs because of a trauma I had in the past. That will be like, I needed some tech support help and I asked someone for help with my microphone. Since I was streaming at that time, I didn't know anything about streaming at that time. And the way the person was rude to me because I was Indian, that made me feel traumatized to even talk to anyone. So during my time in Virtual Sakura's community servers, when they used to call me to come in VCs and talk, I used to take 30 minutes or more to like open up or talk, unmute my mic. It was such a struggle because I had to like prepare myself and I was scared of people. That's when I meet Suzuki Zuriko. She was really friendly towards me and kind and understanding. She was someone who understood that I am shy and I have issues talking with people. And that's how we initially interact on a server VC call. And slowly, we had made like a group DM with Sakura, DGST, Meowcat, Mangle State, Mark, the VTuber, Nekogami, and Suzuki Zuriko. There were a bunch of OG Indian VTubers, including myself. I was the odd one out because I haven't debuted or just call myself an aspiring VTuber. That's how our conversation started with Suzuki Zuriko in 2020. She was the one who helped me to open up myself and like talk with people and such. My first stream on my YouTube channel, which was a 12-hour stream, Some people see that as a debut stream of mine. In that stream, I had Suzuki Zuriko there because she was someone who helped me to open up. And she was my first collab partner ever since I started this VTubing journey. She helped me to do a lot of things. She dragged me into play games such as VR chat and such. She was really a true good friend of mine. And because of our closeness, how she was interacting with me a lot and how I was only comfortable with her at that time, and I started to talk with her more, I collab with her more. A lot of our friends in our circle noticed our closeness between me and Zuki. And that's how, over time, in 2021, people, my community, the smaller audience I had, and her, Suzuki Zuriko was also streaming at that time. So her community and mine, and also our group of circle of friends, they all started to ship us together. They were saying that you both look cute together, you're always together, your wives match each other and stuff, you should be a couple or whatever. They were like joking at that time, but also they were actually shipping us secretly and such. And I noticed that a lot of our friends were dragging us into collaborations together all the time and secretly shipping us as well. And there were people in VCs, whenever I'm not there, they would talk about me to Zuki, asking like, "Where's Jock? Why isn't he here with you?" and such. That's how the shipping started. And over throughout the shipping, Zuki and I were close. We were close as in best friends. For me, I didn't have much friends at the time because of past traumas and how I was in a toxic friendship and it affected me a lot. So Zuki was the one who helped me to come out of that situation and actually accept myself and be myself more and express how I am and everything. She and I used to share a lot about our IRL stuff. She shared her traumas and everything, and I also shared mine to her as well. We were good friends, and I kept her as a special good friend. And because of these shipping, which happened in our community shipping, she started to develop feelings towards me. There was a podcast I appeared from a friend of mine called Mysterio. In that podcast, I was the one who was supposed to be interviewed because it was a podcast for me. But since he noticed our closeness, between me and Zuki, in a way, Zuki had to also appear in my podcast, and we talked about each other and such. And after that podcast, the podcast host, Mr. he tells me about these situations which happened because of people shipping VTubers each other, how their community shipping, how one of the female VTuber, they had to graduate and such because of this forced shipping incident which happened in the Malaysian VTuber community and such. And I started to begin to think how it will affect me and Suki's friendship and such. I saw her as a good friend of mine. I didn't want to break that friendship. So I told Zuki about the situation. That's how I began to realize that she had feelings for me. I just simply joked about, "Did you like me or something?" And she thought I knew, and she confessed that time. Because I didn't want to make it awkward. It was really awkward at that time, but still I valued our friendship, so I didn't want it to break. But even then, I just clearly stated that I don't want to be in a relationship or anything like that because I have a lot of dreams. I wish to succeed in my journey as JoqniX. And I felt like taking the step of romantic relationships will just affect that growth. I'll just forget about my dreams and goals and I'll just be lazy. And I always self-critic myself a lot that I'm not doing my best and everything. I used to compare myself to everyone, even to Zuki as well. So she also knows this. And we come in terms that we'll see how it goes. But I never accepted her. But I also mentioned that over time, I do time to time mention that I do rejected her because during the time of 2021, I was going through a lot of mental stress and I was really overly negative. And Suzuki was trying her best to look after me. She was the one who used to baby me a lot, like telling me to end my stream and such. She was the one who actively made me to do collabs and do drawing together, play games together, and also, like what was mentioned in the Mythic Whales document, she was the one who started doing VC sessions with me because she and I were close. She valued me as a good friend, and I didn't want to break her heart. So I stayed up a lot, however long she wanted me to be there with her. And that's how the VC sessions happened. And I was not the one who started these calls, which lasted for hours and hours for night. She was the one who gave me that opportunity or the first times of being in a call for too long, even to the point that we slept together in a VC and we had to wake up each other by screaming to each other. And whenever I did my sleeping stream, she was the one who would wake me up or call on my phone number because since we were friends, I had also shared my phone number to Zuki at that time. People on my stream would ask Zuki, saying that, wake up Joq, since you have her number and everything. My community at that time knows how close we both are. And during 2021, that's when those conversations happened because we both were mutually in an agreement that we are close to each other and we are in a relationship and stuff. That's why whenever Suzuki Zuriko dragged me into calls and talked about her stuff and everything, I began to share openly about my stuff as well. And that's when these topics and such like teasing and everything happened, where she was the one who taught me what flirting and such teasings and everything. Because I'm someone who takes jokes seriously. I don't understand what's funny about it. I just take it seriously and go in an explanatory mode. Like, why is it funny? And Zuki knows that. And that's why she taught me like what flirting is and this and that. And she even said at that time, don't do that with me. But she was the one who was giving signals and giving teasing and stuff on our collaborations and also off stream and DMs and such whenever we played games together. She was the one who would actively put a lot of effort to get my attention and such. She would feel happy if I gave her head pats and such, like with the gifts and everything, in DMs and Discord. And over time, a mutual friend of us noticed how obsessive and possessive and codependent Suzuki Zuriko was towards me during the time of 2021 and 2022. Before 2022, he mentioned that to Zuki, and Zuki felt heartbroken because that realization hit her deep, and she also confronted me about it. Is her behavior is affecting me or not? And I did openly say that, like, yeah, it did kind of affect me, but also I don't want our friendship to be affected. And that's when I said, like, I don't think this works between us, you know? And I also reminded her that I don't want this to be affecting our friendship. I don't want us to be in a relationship and such. And that's how I rejected her once again. And she felt heartbroken and she blocked me at that time just to have a peace of mind. And in the following day, she just coped and she moved on. And in 2022, I began to see Zuki, who was more confident and more stronger, and it felt like she changed a lot. So hence, our dynamics were odd, but also, yeah, in a way, we came from a place where we were close, and then we had like that broken friendship ever since I rejected her and everything. It was awkward and such. But still, even though there were shipping stuff going on between our communities, I began to tell my community not to ship us together and stuff. It is rude and such. And that's how the shipping and the cult, wherever that was going on, stopped. On 2024 was the time Suzuki and we used to talk, where she comes to me for technical support help and I helped her a lot and stuff. And that was the time when I began to be in a relationship with Aimi on July of 2024. Since Zuki was a good friend of mine, I told about Aimi to her, even though she listened and she was a bit worried about myself, as in, like, she was really overprotective to the point that she was like, just be careful, Joq, and such. And talking about overprotectiveness, Suzuki has helped me a lot to defend me in times where I had arguments and sort of dramas, or not dramas, more of big fights with our mutual friends. She used to be the one to protect me and like defend me or talk in behalf of me, even though I never wanted her to involve in this, in my fights and such with other friends I have. And on 2024, she tells me that she also got into a relationship. And because of that, I was really proud of her and I was happy for her. And for my relationship, since it was not working out and such, I used to ask Zuki for advices because she was in a relationship and that too was a long distance one. So she gives me a lot of advices and such, what she did with her boyfriend at the time and such. And along the year of 2024, that's when she told her boyfriend about our dynamics between me and her, what happened all these years. I believe she talked about everything to him openly because they're in a relationship, right? And her boyfriend suggested her to apologize to me. So Suzuki apologizes to me about everything of our dynamics of this broken friendship we had in the course of 2-3 years. That happens on 2024. This is also the screenshot I had provided on my statement as well. And I also had apologized back for everything because on 2021, 2020 and such, I didn't know much about everything. I made a lot of mistakes. I learned from it over time, even though I kept doing the same mistakes again and again. But still, I understood that and still apologized sincerely to her. And we had mutually solved. I thought that situation and everything with her was solved. And we still began to do our own collaborations and as such. We were good friends still during the time of 2024 and more. I met Suzuki in the Pune Comic Con of this year, March of 2025. She was the one who dragged me to show around a lot of the places, malls, restaurants, and such. Since I was really awkward IRL, since I am someone who barely went outside because of the trauma had to dealt with. I was like a closed in person. She was the one who made me eat a lot of new food items and such, which I never ate before, like ramen and such. And she guided me a lot around the Comic Con event as well. We bought stuff and everything. I really had a good time. And also, I forgot to mention, I had met Suzuki Zuriko in my own state when she came to visit for her family member, her grandparents. I had done a stream where I went to the airport and I met her IRL. It happened only for 5 minutes, but we met. So in a way, I shared a lot of memories with Zuki. And coming back to the present, during my birthday on August 11th of 2025, she was also there in my stream. She wished me happy birthday. When I had like a community message board where people can send me birthday wishes. She also sent that. She was in my stream waiting for me to read her message and such. We promised to do more collaborations this year. And after that, she did her own stream and she rated me. That was the time when I was opening the cake which I received from a good friend of mine whose name is Pandit. Pandit and I go long back because of our mutual friend Meow Cat Max. I was a co-host for Meow's virtualism project and I met Pandit there. We did had our fights and such and I felt like I'm not good at what I'm doing there and I had to take my leave from virtualism as a co-host. And there were some issues that time too, but Zuki was the one who was defending me and such during that time because I'm someone who takes it all in and never show my anger out and such. And I'm the one who was always getting hurt and such. But regardless of all of that, we made up. Pandit and I are good friends and such. And Pandit had his own drama or whatever he was accused for. He was also accused as a predator. And I came to know that from Pandit that situation or whatever he was accused for was solved in 2 days. That happened in a Discord server he was in. So one more thing I forgot to mention that Suzuki Zuriko had confronted me about Pandit, like about the allegations behind him. And I mentioned that Yeah, there were allegations behind him. That was so long ago, but I don't know the whole thing. And he's not that kind of person. He has changed and as such. And I've seen him change a lot. He's been focusing on himself and as such. And Zuki was being defensive, saying that you shouldn't be friends with people like him and such. And I noticed that Zuki doesn't like, she hates Pandit. When Pandit gave me the cake on my birthday, the reason for me accepting that cake because Pandit and I are good friends. He helped me a lot. During this year, he was the one who helped me with since I became a sole proprietor, proper business for JoqniX, he was the one who helped me with a lot of business stuff, guiding me and advising me to do stuff. So I kept him as a close friend. And when he wanted to send me a cake, I gave him my address because I trust him and he and I are good friends. And we even met on Pune Comic Con as well. So he and I know each other personally. So I received the cake on my birthday. That's the time when Suzuki Zuriko raided me with her community. And I felt like, oh no, like Zuki and Pandit doesn't get along. And I felt like that tension would happen or such. But I didn't pay much attention to that. I just let it go and I just enjoyed my birthday because no one has done anything special for me like this. It meant a lot to me. So I cut the cake. I fumbled a lot. I messed up the cake, getting it out of the box and such. I panicked a lot. Pandit came in chat and asked what happened and such. Suki was also there. I believe she was lurking at that time. So yeah, I do my stream and cut the cake and celebrated my birthday and I end the stream. After the next day on August 13th, I post my stream summary where I talked about what I did on August 11th and 12th. So in that tweet, I thanked Pandit for sending me a cake because no one has ever done that to me. I sent the cake photo of the cake and also tagged him on Twitter. The next day on August 14th, it was the time I had scheduled a stream for the game I was excited to play, that is Battlefield 6. I go to sleep after tweeting and woke up at 9 a.m. and I see multiple DMs from Suzuki Zuriko saying how hurt she was that I'm being friends with the people who have hurted her when she had defended me a lot and such. And she's saying that I shouldn't be too forgiving to people like Pandit for what he has done with the minor and such. I couldn't type anything back to her because she had already blocked me. And I noticed that she had blocked me on Twitter and Discord as well. I thought since she has, whenever she is moody and whenever she is emotional or in a moody state, she would impulsively do such stuff. And over time, when she's calmed down, she would just unblock and talk to me. That's how all these years happened. We'll always talk it out. But this time she didn't. She said in that messages, she said how much it will affect our friendship and others as well. And she chose to cut me off. And I was saddened seeing her behavior and I thought she will just unblock, but she didn't. Over time, I just let it be. I felt like if she is deciding to cut me off, then it is her choice. I'm no one to persuade her to friend me back and such. She's an adult. She's capable enough to take decisions of her own. So I let her be and I do my own streams and such. And when Fuji, Kyra, and Celestia confronted me in that VC on August 16th, I realized that it could have been Zuki herself who came out and digged up that old past thing we had mutually resolved, and apologized and moved on from. And it's been so many years as well. She's in a relationship where she's happy. I'm doing my own thing as well. And she was the one who brought that old stuff up to Fuji and other moderators, which caused this whole situation. And Pandit tells me this in a VC after the situation happens. And I talk with him. All of this happened because of her cake, because I chose to tweet about the cake. So yeah, that's the situation with Suzuki Zuriko, the first person. So the second person involved is Mem. She's the one who was in charge of a lot of things, such as she was the one who made my fan art, the one I have on my channel and such, and the one which is also shown in the BBC article. And she's also the person who gifted me my Live 2D model. She drew it and rigged it herself. Mem met me through my streams on 2021. It was a stream where I was playing New World. She met me through that stream and she started to interact with me. She joined my Discord server around the time of November or October of 2021. She was such a parasocialic viewer where she self-proclaimed herself to be Joq's number one simp. Not only she watched a lot of my streams every day whenever I streamed, she also would give me gifts such as making fan arts and such, making doodles and such. For me, no one has done such artworks and such for me around the time of 2021 and such. Because I was a smaller creator, no one watched me much. I felt overjoyed and happy that someone would take their time out of their day to draw JoqniX, and it meant a lot to me. Because of that, I held her as a good friend. Over time, we talked and talked. She asked a lot of questions about me and how I started VTubing and such. That's how we became friends over the course of 3-4 months. And over time, she would be the one to make me do stuff such as voice acting and such. See, she has a good voice and she does voice acting and stuff in VCs. I have introduced her to most of all of my friends. Even Suzuki Zurika knows about her. And Zuki even noticed how Mim was interacting in my streams and such. And in my Discord server at that time of 2021 and 2022, my Discord server was really active because of Zuki always being active there. During that time, she had not made her own VTuber server at that time. But yeah, because we used to play games such and such, Mim also used to join us in VCs and talked. We used to hang out and such. We had a good friendship. And because she was actively doing a lot of things for me, even though I never asked her to draw or anything, I felt like I should not take her for granted and like take it for free. I didn't have money to pay her, but I promised her that I will pay her in the future when I am able to afford her, because she was the one who helped me with my JoqniX character designs. She used to sketch a lot of alternate outfits and versions of JoqniX, and I even told her about my Onyxia project, where even she was the one who drew concept art for my characters, Cecil, Kakwina, and Thymastin. Over the time, the way of interaction between us was she was the one who was more aggressive in ways of talking with me, as in, since we were close and such, she also developed that same thing with Zuki used to do, that was being overprotective and babying me, such as if I'm over streaming, if I'm live streaming and if I am late, or if I'm streaming for more hours, like 6-7 hours, Mem would always spam DM me to telling me to stop and such. If I didn't respond to her messages, she would just scold me and like not talk with me and such. And at that point of time, I let it be because she was a good friend and I accepted her as a friend and such. And over time, she began to do conversations such as flirting and complimenting and such. And whenever she flirted and such, because I am super dense, I didn't understand if it's a flirt or a compliment. I took it as her complimenting me and such. And she always liked the way I reacted and such, how I reacted to whatever she sends and such. She liked picking and seeing my reactions a lot whenever she teased me or whenever she cracked a joke and such. She was the one who made me understand what these memes and jokes are, like these nut jokes and such. I did not know much about it, and I used to get these nutted by her a lot. And she was the one who taught me about it. This is how you should. This joke works, this meme works, and such. And over time, she developed this sort of same possessiveness, such as Zuki used to do. She used to always be stuck with me like a glue. We used to play games and draw art together because she was an artist. I used to draw along with her whenever I could. She taught me how to draw as well, like the eyes and such. We did a stream together. We did a stream where we collaborated. She was voicing one of the characters of DDLC. Doki Doki Literature Club. That was our first collaboration. And because she mentioned that she also wanted to be a VTuber and she wanted to collab with me, and I gave that chance with her. Like, I brought her to my stream and collabed with her. We had fun, and she had told me about her dreams of being a VTuber or becoming a corporate VTuber. She liked Neji Sanji a lot, and I supported her dreams and such because she had a good voice, she had a lot of talent. Over the year of 2022, that was around the time all of these conversations were happening. She also mentions that she was 18 because I was in a state where the only thing which is a weakness about me is that I can't say no to people. And that's how people just take advantage of me. And now that I think about it, there were instances where I could have said no, but the way our dynamics are, how we are good friends and such, I didn't want to break Mim's heart. Where whenever I argued with her or caused her pain, she would just be emotionally sad and cry. And it hurted me a lot too, seeing someone, a good friend of mine, crying and such. So I began to not open up about whatever the way she was acting towards me and such. I let it happen to the point that she was giving me a lot of signals that she's interested in me and into me and such. But again, I clearly stated to her that I cannot be in a relationship, and I straight up rejected her as well, saying that I have to focus on my dreams and goals in life. I can't take the easy way path and forget about it and such, going towards the romantic side. And my heart is already stone locked, and I shouldn't let that open up to people I see as friends and such. And she understood that, and she also already knew how close Suzuki was towards me, and she was feeling jealous about it. She she was feeling jealous about Suzuki, how she was close with me, and also when I began to interact more with a new couple of friends I met throughout the years of 2022. I met a few friends who are VTubers as well, how I used to hang out with them and such. I even introduced her to them. That's the screenshot I mentioned in my statement where she was jealous that I was talking with them more than her. Over time, I let it be, her flirting and such, and the way she talked with me and such. And also, she mentioned that she was already 18 and such. And because of me not interacting or giving her time because I was so focused on my own streams and such, she began to drift away a little bit, or focusing on her IRL, or because she had exams and such. And I felt she was not interacting me the way she used to interact with me before. And I felt a bit sad. At that time, I did not know that I had this thing called attachment issues. How people, when people drift away from me, I started to take it personally and take it emotionally. And I feel like that sort of jealousy or toxicity feeling, I started to develop that too. So because of that, I interacted with her more often, and she was overjoyed by that. And there was this one time we used to do conversations in Discord in a call and such. She was the one who wanted to do conversations and interactions on Gmail. Then we switched to Hangouts. That's where all the calling and video calls and such happened. We went back to doing Discord calls. That's where the screenshot from the Mythic document happened. The mobile screenshot, that's where that happened. She wanted to know about these sexual stuff and everything and asked me about it, saying that I would know about it. So I just told her about it. And that conversation was taken out of context. And over time, we still, I apologized after that night because I felt like that is not right. And I cried a lot, and she was consoling me that it's okay. I asked you for it. You didn't do anything wrong and such. And she consoled me, and I apologized again. In the following days, I did apologize again about it because it did affect me a lot, thinking about it, that I shouldn't do something like this unless and until I'm with someone I like and someone I chose as a romantic partner, right? Yeah, after that, we still began, it was awkward, but still we began to be friends. And there was this one moment where she invited me for VTuber prom. So she wanted me to do that with her. and I rejected because I felt like being open about your relationships as a VTuber, that's like a taboo or such, because I'm more into the Japanese way of VTubing, the traditional style of VTubing. And I felt like people would do the shipping and such with Mim as well, like what happened with Zuki. I did not want that to affect Mim as well. And because of that, I rejected, and she felt sad. During that time, she found another IN VTuber who she got along with. His name was Devil. Mem and Devil got along closer. They were good friends and such. And apparently, Mim had invited Devil for the VTuber prom, and they hit it off. They enjoyed and such. On November of 2022, I get told by her that she is in a relationship with Devil. During that time, she had already told about this news to other mutual friends of us. She told me late, and my first reaction to that was really bad. I didn't take it well, and my emotional instability popped in, and like I was not listening to what she was saying. She was saying that she will still be my friend, but I, in my mind, kept on thinking that she will also leave me and she will cut me off as a friend and stuff. Whatever she said, I didn't see it as a truth because I felt like she betrayed me, and whatever promises she made to me was all broken. And in the end, I made the big mistake of judging their relationship because she was 18 and Devil was more older than her. And he was also older than me at the time, really older than me. And I felt like both of them were in the match and the age gap and such. And that's the main mistake I've made. And ever since then, Mim blocked me after our last conversation. When I said all of this and emotionally vented so much to her and spammed a lot of messages to her, she blocked me. And I made an apology video message to her and Devil on YouTube. Mem was someone who was a special friend of mine. She was there in my ups and downs. She used to guide me and console me a lot of times and told me what to do and how I should appreciate myself, whatever I have, and my own qualities and everything. Because I was always self criticizing myself and downing myself. And as good friend like that, I kept close, cutting me off. It broke me a lot. And yeah, when this incident happened, I did mention it to Suzuki as well. She also suggested to make an apology and apologize properly. So I did the video and I sent it to her by a mutual friend. But I felt like that video was me not fully understanding of my own mistakes, of me judging their relationship and such. And over time, even though I was affected by it, I began to move on over the course of years. So this happened on 2022, 2023, and 2024. We haven't talked at all. On 2024, we only interacted and reconnected because on 2024, I was recommended by Aimee to this VTuber agency, which was a startup, and I was a talent under it, which was not known to public. And I wanted, we were discussing about my model, who I wanted for as a designer and such. And since Mem had done my live 2D model and done a lot of artworks for me, I thought if it's possible, if she's willing to come back again, or just even if it's not friendship, but at least as a professional work on that, I could get her because I love the way she drew hairstyles and such. She was improving. As a phone artist, she was improving a lot. And since she had already worked on my characters before, she knows what I wanted. So I chose her. The staff members of that agency, they reached out to her. And my mutual friend was the one who reached out to her, and he dragged me and her Mem into a DM group, and that's how our first interaction happens. He had asked permission from Mem if it's okay to initiate interactions with me, and because of her saying yes, that's the only reason why the DM group happened, and that's our first interaction. And we talked about the model and such. It was odd and awkward because I was being careful not to overstep her boundaries again. And mutual friend helped us to break the ice. And over time we interacted with each other in that group, only in that group. I never DM'd her in private like I used to in 2022. because it was hard for me to go back into those DMs and read those last messages I wrote when I was emotionally unstable. So I didn't choose to DM her casually there unless and until it's really important. Cannot be mentioned in the group. Yeah. And we worked on the model and such. That's the only interaction we had. And the third individual, which I will be explaining in a bit, since I had already introduced the mem to her in 2022, since I mentioned that I introduced mem to a lot of my friends, people I kept close as a good friend. So they were both friends. So they didn't know I was in a relationship and such. Third person, Aimee, was the one who told that she's in a relationship with me. And the reason why I didn't say it to her when I had said it to Suki was because I felt that guilt of what I did with her, me judging her relationship and such. And I felt like she would be against me being in a relationship, Aimee, and such. And it was my fault of not telling her beforehand. And in a way, I believe Mim had told about my emotional instability and how I am, everything to Aimee as well. And I mean, also faced a lot of my stuff at that time in 2024 when the breakup happened with Aimee. Mim was the one who was consoling me. We were in a server VC, and she was the one who helped me to get over Aimee by leaving all the groups and leaving all the things I made for Aimee and such. So all these memories and such won't affect me more and more and break me more and more. That's where I apologized to Mem. This was also the time when I was going through therapy. This will be mentioned in the part where I talk about the third person Aimee. So after my therapy and such, I realized that what I did with Mem was also wrong, because I went back to all of my DMs with people and realized that what I did with Mem was wrong, judging your relationship and such. So I sincerely apologize for everything I have done to Mem while crying, because it was too much for my heart, and I sincerely wanted to apologize. And she accepted my apology by saying that she would want me to become a better me. And I also wrote a written apology, and also I had mentioned it to her in DM as well. And she said she had forgiven me years ago on 2022, when after a few months she had unblocked me and such. I didn't know because I didn't check her socials if she had blocked me or not ever since then. And that's how our interactions went. And after that, I apologized and we made up and we started doing VC activities, such as while I was learning Japanese, she was also interested in that. And I would teach Japanese, whatever I was learning in my online course, I would teach her to her. That's like revising and such. And she enjoyed it. She saw me as a teacher and we had that interaction and such. We got along and we, time to time, sat in VCs with our mutual friend teaching Japanese and practicing Japanese and singing songs and such. And in 2025 as well, because of my model issue with the agency I was in, Mem knows the whole situation, and she also gave her thoughts about what to do and such. She was helping me how to talk with the artists and other commissioners, because I didn't know how to talk with people professionally and such. And that's when I started my Jokathon event. I would also talk about that event, what I wanted to do and such. And Mim was supportive of that. She knew how persistent I was, even though it's impossible for me to get the model stuff right and actually get it working and everything, pay off the debt and everything. She still believed that I could do it because I was persistent. I forgot to mention one more point, that my Jokathon event, Suzuki Zuriko was opposed to it. She said that I had to be realistic and it wouldn't work out and such. I had told closest people to me, such as Zuki, Fuji, and most people from the INB to shower, because I trusted them and they are already experienced on how to do subathons and such, and they already have their own models and such. Some of them are live 2D artists. So I had also already mentioned them about my situation, even though I'm not supposed to, but I trusted them to keep a secret. And they all of them were supportive. Some people wasn't, but still they gave me a good luck. And Zuki also gave me a good luck. Hope it works out for you and such. And over time, I haven't interacted much in that DM group since I have left the DM group while the situation happened on August 16th and all the DM groups and servers. I may not be able to provide the whole context of what the conversations happened in that DM group, but my last conversation with Mim was her promoting about a competition, art competition she was in, and telling me and my mutual friend to support her and like and comment and such. And I was focusing on my hackathon event, and that's about it. So the third person who was involved was Aimee. I met Aimee through a mutual friend of ours on 2022 or September. She was a VTuber who came to talk with me in an undercover account named Aimee. On 2022 of November, she had faced an accident, and I had also mentioned about this to Suzuki and Mem. They were skeptical at first about Aimee's existence, but over time, the more they talked, Mem was the one who talked with Aimee. I had introduced Mem to Aimee. They talked, they got along well. And Mem was the one who was consoling me when the accident happened with Aimee. Due to the accident, after that, she was recovered and such. She talked with me and sent me her final message. She asked me about my dreams and such, and I mentioned what I wanted to do for JoqniX and such. And her final message to me before she stopped using that account was something special to me, and I kept it to my heart, and I focus on my journey as JoqniX and keep on pushing myself. And the results of that was me after that. And after that message, the next day I was kept on streaming for 12 hours for a week and got sick. On 2024, around February, I get an email from a VTubing agency, which is a startup, and I was kind of skeptical about it because why would anyone recruit me or scout me? And apparently, my mutual friend also got that email, and I was like, someone actually scouted both of us, and I was happy that. And if he was also joining in, I would also join him too, because for me, I had like a strict conditions if I'm joining a agency because I have my own dreams and goals for JoqniX and also my passion project Onyxia. And I join in and I see someone I never expected to see when I joined in their agency's Discord server. That was Aimee. She was there as their advisor and manager. I was utterly shocked, and that's how we reconnected after 2 years. On 2024, I reconnected with Aimee and we were talking again as friends and such. She helped me a lot. She gave her ideas and everything, how the agency stuff was working and stuff, because she had already experience in this field. And she shared a lot of her insights and such, and it helped me a lot. Over time, when the agency stuff was not working out and such, it was meant to be in a hiatus. And my model stuff and everything was supposed to be working at that time. And that news of going into hiatus broke me a lot. And Aimee was there to console me and help me. And ever since then, I did my best with my streams, but I felt like something was missing. That's when I realized that I am not enjoying what I'm doing. I'm just forcing myself to stream, doing my game streams and stuff. So Aimee suggested to start over. What made you want to do VTubing and such? That made me remember my initial goal with JoqniX, that was to make music. So Aimee was there as a catalyst to help me and find myself back. And she acted like a manager for me who would take care of my IRL stuff so I can manage both VTubing and my ambition of doing music. She was the one who helped me make the music channel I have because of her own suggestion. I followed it. Even my interactions with her during that time when she was acting as a manager for me, it's like due to my overthinking of a lot of things. I was overthinking about the future and stuff. I already insightfully listed out the things I have to do and such. And Aimee felt like there's nothing she can do. Then I realized that I'm just overstepping the boundaries, and she lent her hand to help me, even though she is busy with her IRL stuff. And that's how I let her orchestrate my life so she can guide me, and I will follow her. And that's how on 2024, around April, May, June, and stuff, she was the one who helped me with a lot of timetables, idle timetable schedules, and that helped me to manage sleep on time, be more healthier, and such. I did my streams and I was enjoying a lot. It helped me a lot to focus. I was also focusing, giving time on music. And over the course of July of 2024, I started to develop this sort of jealousy or possessiveness towards her because idolized her and viewed her as a guide, a guiding light for me. And sometimes, even though her conversations were confusing sometimes, and she was more secretive and such, and my emotions or way of talking of being obsessive or that sort of parasocial came out, as I think. And it was a bit awkward between us because she was as acting as a manager. I had to write full on reports, whatever I did in a day. She noticed that I was being depressive for a while. She asked me about it. That incident happened because I talked to a friend of mine who was a VTuber that I was helping her with her technical support stuff. And she, after helping, I talked about my stuff because we were close. I saw her as a friend. We started talking about life and everything. I talked about how things are going weird with my manager at the time. And she suggested that maybe I might be having a friend crush. And that made me feel like I may be in love with Amy or something. And that caused a lot of friction and awkwardness. And I began to confess my feelings to Amy, and she accepted it and such. Over the course of our relationship, it was mainly me doing a lot of things because I did not know how to be in a relationship or what should I do. My only course of source material was anime and books and everything. And also, it was her first time as well. The relationship didn't last much, it only lasted for 4 months at max because I portrayed that same emotions or feelings. Whatever Suzuki Zuriko and Memyu portrayed towards me, I portrayed the same thing towards Aimi of being obsessive and giving more pressure to Aimi on the basis of love and such. I began to understand this sort of behavior change in me when one of Aimi's friends and our mutual friend also noticed that I am being a bit too weird towards Aimi in the form of being overly codependent and negative, oversharing, a lot of things like that. And Amy didn't pay much attention to that much. She knew how I am and such. But over the course of time, I made a lot of mistakes and blunders here and there. That happens when you are in a relationship. And it was my first time, and it was her first time as well. We realized that we weren't compatible. That happened because I was judging others around me. And during that time, Mem was in a relationship. That was a long distance as well. That worked out great for her. I was happy for her. At the same time, Suzuki was also in a relationship. That also was a long distance. And they both are working out well. And I felt like, why isn't my relationship working out, even though it was a long distance as well? Am I doing something wrong and stuff? I started blaming myself to the point that my own anchor towards me started to shift towards her. Why isn't she reciprocating back and such? Over time, we had a breakup. It was a bad breakup. And because that breakup or something was not fully clear because of Aime's own words and such, I didn't realize that it was a breakup. I thought she was just angry and such. But later on, her message made it clear that, yeah, she is wanting to end things here, just want to be friends and such. And that broke me a lot because she also mentioned in that message how much I was pressurizing my emotions and forcing it to her. And it had affected her mental health. And that was really bad. That caused me to take therapy. That was the first time in my life that I found a therapist myself and independently went to take therapy. My parents had taken me to see psychiatrists and such because of my instability and such, because I couldn't focus on my academics and such. But all of that got generalized into me being addicted to computer and such. They couldn't help me much. Just claimed it as ADHD and such. But when I reached out to a proper therapist and I took a CBT therapy, cognitive behavior therapy, that helped me to understand the whole thing, what was wrong with me. I shared my conversations with Amy to the therapist. We both sat down and analyzed all the conversations, how it's affecting me, and how her messages were also helping me in a sort to understand my own problems and such. At that time, I didn't realize that. When I sat down with the therapist, I realized how much this person was trying to help me and such. And I just made it worse, and that friendship and ties just broke away. And during the therapy, we talked about what was the main cause of this sort of behavioral change and my negativity and how it's affecting others around me. And I realized my root cause was my childhood trauma. And the therapist helped me to confront and face my childhood trauma so I can put a stop to it. The therapist guided me to set proper boundaries and friend circles so I can protect myself not to get hurt anymore. And on December of 2024, I came back from my hiatus. I forgot to mention that I had taken an hiatus due to the stuff which was happening between Amy and me, with the relationship dynamics and such. I took a break around September, and that's also the cause of me not being able to do my anniversary stream last year. And I returned back to streaming on December 1st of 2024. That was the start of a new arc of mine. That's when I began to focus on myself and my health and mentality and everything. Started doing therapy. Because of the therapy helping me a lot, it helped a lot to express myself more and to adapt to a lot of situations. And Amy also saw that I returned back to streaming and such. My return stream to streaming was emotional. I cried on that stream. But yeah, after that, Amy DM'd me and talked about it. Glad to see that you're back. We interacted a little bit. Then again, I was under the impression that we never broke up. Then over time, during January, I get the full clearance that she actually broke up and she actually found someone else. And she's happy with them. And I'm happy with that. And I'm happy for her. And I realized that over time, it took a while for me to move on from that situationship we had. And over time, Amy had blocked and moved on. The reason for me to bring up Amy in this video and in my statement was as the third person is because she got dragged into this. And I will explain why and how. When I was in that agency, where I was scouted to, since there were lack of staffs and such, I wanted to bring in a friend who was a close friend of mine, and because of him helping me a lot, that person was Fuji Everest. I trusted him a lot so that I wanted him to be there as a part-time manager or something to help and guide this agency project because I believed in this agency a lot, even though it's a startup. No, not much people are there. And that's how Amy and the agency owner and me and Fuji in a DM group happens because I introduced Fuji to them. During the document release by Mythic Vale on August 16th, around the time of August 24, a mutual friend of mine told me about Amy getting to know about my situation. I even told my friend like what happened with me and such. And I decided to unblock Amy because I've still had blocked her so I can focus on my stuff and everything and not look back on my past ties. I decided to unblock because of our mutual friend. And I realized that from her own words, from Amy herself, she said that she got dragged into this. It affected her IRL. Her partner got to know about my situation, and her partner was the one who told her about it, and she was like surprised, like, how come her past ties online have to affect IRL in her own life? And my conversation with her on August 24 made me understand that she was reached out, or she was in talking terms with Fuji. And based on the screenshot from her asking me if this was true or not, and this is the screenshot where I believe this is from Fuji because of his way of texting. This is about the harassments and such where people doxed me and such. I will explain about this more in the next segment. And over time, Aimee told me that Fuji sees me as a menace to humanity. And I realized that, yeah, in a way, the way she got dragged into this by Fuji was because I once told Fuji about what happened between me and Aimee, my relationship with her and everything, how it didn't work out and such, because I involved him into the environment where me and Aimee and the agency stuff happened. So I thought it would be good that he knows. So I didn't want to interact with Aimee even if I'm in that agency server. Just wanted to let him know because he was a good friend of mine. I trusted him a lot. And I also told Fuji Everest about my past traumas and such, what happened with me as a child. And yeah, my last conversation with Aimee was on August 24th, where we were talking about the situation and such. She herself mentioned that you can't trust herself and anyone due to what's been happening and how toxic this community is. She herself has had a lot of experience in this VTubing industry. She knows how toxic it can get. After that, I haven't talked with her much, and that was the last conversation we had. And I did ask if it's okay for me to mention her name in my statement when I released my statement. And also, that statement I wrote regarding the third person, that was also an apology to Aimee herself. And I sent the whole thing, same thing from the document to her in DM. And she chose to accept my apology that day. And after that, I haven't messaged her ever since. And I felt angry that she got dragged into this mess because of my ties with her in the past. That's the conclusion about the third person, Aimee. Since we have talked about the three individuals, Mim, Zuki, and Aimee, now I'll talk about my past trauma, why and how it affected me in my online life as JoqniX and such. So when I was a child, around 14 or 15, I believe I was in 7th grade or 8th grade, I was an altar boy in a church, in our local church near me. My grandmother wanted me to, she was super superstitious and religious. So she wanted me to be an altar boy in our church. So I started being an altar boy during my 7th grade and such. And I believe after an year, I began to befriend people who were senior than me and such because I was easy to manipulate and more was like bullied in a way where people would take advantage of me and such to make me do things for them and such. So there was this priest who was a superior in our church who used to have the full authority over the whole thing. And I believe he saw me getting beaten up by the seniors because we got into an argument. For the first time, I chose to stand up and talk back to those seniors who were treating me horribly. And yeah, I got beaten up, and the superior interfered and broke off the fight. Such. Over time, I noticed that the superior priest was giving special attention towards me and such. I didn't know what was going on. And he was saying that because I'm always alone and such, I used to share about my family stuff, which was also traumatizing for me because of my family arguments and fights and such. It affected me a lot. And the priest was there to help me get over it and such. He used to be there as a friend to listen to me and such. Over time, he used to, in a way, he was the active predator and pedophile and a groomer because he is way older than me. I was just 14, 15, and he was like more than 50s or 60s, I believe. I didn't know that I was getting groomed I didn't know I was being a target towards this priest and such. Whenever I used to ask, why me? He would say that because he saw that I was alone and needed a friend and such. I didn't get why would friends do that and such. And this was the person who forcefully made me to drink alcohol and such. I remember talking about times in my own streams where I was forced to drink alcohol, different kinds of alcohols like champagne and everything. I never mentioned how and who forced me. Right. This gives a more clearer picture about my childhood where I was forcefully made to drink alcohol, and because I had that low tolerance or something, I used to pass out after a few sips. That's where I got assaulted and such, and where I was raped and such. And this went on for a while, for a lot of years, because this person was helping me with my dream. I told him about me wanting to be a streamer, wanting to do music, etc. And this guy was supportive about what I wanted to do, and he would give me money and everything. And I always felt guilty that I'm sacrificing myself to get money and everything because I didn't have a job. I tried to get part-time job. No one would accept me because I didn't have a proper degree and such. And this went on for a long while, and there were times I actually blocked that person and didn't interact. But due to this person being actively involved in my family, because my father and parents trust him a lot, he had helped me in my family a lot. So I couldn't fully cut him off because my family would make me interact with him whenever we go to church and such. And it became like a trauma more and more. And that's how on when I was in 10th grade, during my final exams of 10th grade, I tried to take my own life and I was becoming suicidal because of what happened. Because of this person, this priest doing that to me, I felt like dirty. I felt like unclean. I felt ruined. And whenever I go outside or go to school, walking towards to my school, the way people would stare at me, I would feel like they're looking at an unclean person or something. I felt it was hard for me to look straight or look to people in the eye. And over time, I became like a shut in person, never going out because I was scared to go outside about what people will think about me. And that also caused me trauma not to go to churches anymore. And this person would always call me saying that come to church, etc. and stuff. And though he didn't forcefully do it sometimes, but he would, the way of him persuading me and manipulating me, I never knew that. Even if I knew about it, I tried my best to stay away, but also I couldn't because of my family. Didn't know the whole thing. I couldn't open up to my own family about it. And during 2023, I was, due to a family situation which happened with my mother, I had to stay away from my own house. I had to live as a tenant in some other places. I had to move my own things, move my PC and everything. And during one of those times, I was actively being called by this priest to come visit him and stuff because he got transferred to a different church and such. And that caused me to again interact with him and getting fallen into that same rabbit hole of what he did again when I was a child. And this again caused me to open up more scars in myself. I believe during those time I was feeling out of it to stream during 2023, 2024 because this was happening. Couldn't open up to anyone. I did mention this to Suzuki and Mim in 2022, what happened with me in my childhood. And that part was taken out of context and switched up to me talking about losing my virginity or something in the mythic document. And that itself is wrong. I only shared to Suzuki about what happened with me, my trauma, but that was taken out of context. And on 2024 was the time around my birthday was the time I accidentally took his call because my family and cousins were calling me on my birthday last year, 2024. And that was also around the time I was in a relationship with Amy. And the way he wanted me to come visit him all the way over where he was and everything, it felt like trauma again. And I talked with a friend of mine, and he was the one who made me to take a decision: either sacrifice myself again and gather evidences to put him into custody and take justice for myself, or completely cut ties with him and block him and focus on myself. And I felt guilty too, because I was in a relationship with Amy at that time, and I felt that's cheating and stuff. Whatever that was, I felt guilty. Why would that person still call me and stuff? Couldn't stop it. And after the breakup with Amy, around 2024 November, that's when I took the therapy. The therapist focused on my root cause, which was this incident with the priest, how he was grooming me and everything. The therapist told me and gave me the courage to talk to my family. I couldn't fully tell my father about it. He knows what happened, but doesn't know the full details because it will actually break him, because my father saw the priest as a good friend he could trust and rely on. So I told to my uncle, who was a good friend to my father, who was there with my family, because he was in charge of the construction of my building, because my house was going under renovation at that time. I told my cousin uncle about it. He understood the situation and took a serious action to cut the priest off from my family and stuff. Told my dad not to contact him and stuff. And little did I know, the priest had targeted my cousin brother, my dad's sister's cousin and stuff. And all these years I was doing that, thinking that I was his only target and I was the only sacrifice. All these years I thought I was the only victim, and I didn't want any other children to go through what I had to face. So I just sacrificed myself all these years, hoping that he would not target anyone else. But when I heard that he tried to target my cousin brother, that angered me a lot. And that's when I fully decided to tell my dad honestly what happened. Because he also knows what happened to my cousin brother, where he almost tried to groom him. The priest tried to groom my cousin brother. Ever since then, was not in contact with him anymore, and the therapy helped me to get over it, to focus on my life, focus on myself, to be better, not to get frightened by such things anymore, not to let the past affect my present self. Like I mentioned before, December 1st, when I came back to streaming, that was a new healing arc. And I had also told Amy about the situation because I never shared it with her. After a breakup and such, on February was the time I shared about this, what happened, and why our relationship didn't work out was because of me being affected by this person who groomed me and such. I realized that the way he was manipulating and grooming me, I started to do that unintentionally to others, as in not saying like I was grooming others, as in the form of being negative and overly self-depreciating myself to the point that I'm the problem. I'm the root cause of everything, taking blames which are not even mine, and I'm directing it to myself that I'm the problem and such. That's how the relationship was uncompatible and didn't work out. This topic about my childhood trauma, about the priest and everything, family matters and everything, I had openly shared it to a couple of trusted friends in this community, and Fuji Everest was one of them. And I had also mentioned about this in the confrontation call where Fuji, Kyra, and Celestia were there. I told them about this, about what happened for the relationship with Amy and stuff, how I realized that that is the problem of me to make this my emotional instability to cause all these issues and such. And I would have never, knowing that I'm victim of a predator, how would I even do that to a minor? Intentionally, I would never do that. I'm someone who takes it to the heart, and if I'm guilty of something, I couldn't sleep at night unless and until I am fully apologize to the person if I did something wrong. I'm that sensitive type. And again, reflecting back on Zuki's and Mem's situation, I had apologized sincerely with them, and that stuff was moved on. And through the therapy, I also moved on from all those past traumas and everything I had between them and everything. Because if I hadn't taken the therapy, I would have still be thinking about what I did with them, the mistake with Mim, judging her relationship, the broken friendship with Mim, the broken friendship with Zuki, and how my relationship with Amy didn't work out. The good thing about everything which had happened right now is after the document came, I did not emotionally explode like I did with Mems and Zuki's situation when they cut me off and left during the one time. Because of the therapy, the healing, I'm glad to see that those process of me healing from my past traumas and everything and actually focusing on myself, it helped me to maintain a stability, to stabilize my own emotions and feelings and thoughts. And I forgot to mention one thing. I used to get this anxiety seizures where my whole body feels numb and such. That happened when Mem left me and blocked me that night on 2022. But here, when this document came out, when my whole life was destroyed in that one night, I didn't cry. I just felt numb. I felt neutral because I know this can't be my end because there's more to the story. And I'm glad that even today, my healing process didn't revert back to zero. I'm not the same crybaby I was before. I'm able to maintain my emotions and handle myself better than this time. And I'm glad I'm able to be a better person. This shows that people can change. People, if they truly understand their mistakes and such, they can take their time to change over time. I'm someone who makes the same mistake again and again. That's why Amy didn't want to stay along with me because I kept repeating the same mistakes and everything again and again, making things bad for myself again and again. She was a catalyst who helped me and guided me, and her role in my life was over and she left, as a catalyst should do. And here as well, I truly believe that I can come back from this, even if I have made mistakes in the past which were mutually resolved and moved on with. Even if I'm branded with a label online that I'm a predator, the same very thing I'm a victim of IRL, I wouldn't let that affect me in my whole journey for JoqniX. I heard from some people that some VTubers and people who have shared about my trauma, and also from the confrontation call, let's call it the confession video or confession call. I probably think they had Fuji and Kyra and Celeste, they had recorded that call and was showing around to other people who couldn't believe that I admitted or confessed or something. I realized that because I've shared about my trauma, what happened with me, because Fuji was there. I shared with him openly long time ago. So I mentioned that again to for him to remember that that stuff happened with me. So I came to know that some people were talking about my trauma, what happened with me and everything, and them saying that I deserve that to happen, this and that. The way people were joking about it and stuff, that's just goes too far, and how far people are cruel to judge me like that. I felt disgusted, and that's why I made the announcement in my Discord server after consulting my lawyer about how people are using my trauma and talking about it and like joking about it and such. And I did get scolded from my lawyer for like overreacting and sending that Discord message. In the end, Mythic Whales just used that against me as if calling as an legal scare tactic. And also, Aizen was they doing their own investigation and such in my server, sending that messages and everything. That made Mythic look up what Aizen's legal consultancy group and everything was and everything. And they thought that was my legal thing. But no, Aizen was just a third party who was not representing me. I had my own lawyers. I had talked with them. And when they saw Mythic's tweet about it, they felt like it is better for me to take action against all of them. And I did see Mythic Whales post about this on Reddit and other places. It shows how much they are taking this too far to damage my whole image and whole reputation, everything I have built. On the night of August 16th, it was hard for me to process what's happening. I received a lot of DM messages from the people I call friends asking, is this true? And everything. I honestly wanted to respond to all of them, saying that it's not really true. There's more to the story and everything. But the way people started to block me and silently judged me and everything, it made me feel like no one would want to listen to my story. The next day, I tried my best to sleep and wake up. And then I began to get more messages in my Discord. And I noticed there's a lot of people talking in my community server in Discord. And I realized that a lot of people are talking about the situation. Some people just dropped the document by Mythic saying that it's spreading awareness and everything. And those were the very people I trusted, and they know me for a while, how I am and how my personality and behaviors are. Seeing them blindly believe and talk about the situation without hearing my side, it felt really hurtful. And I did see on Twitter the responses where everyone just blindly just believed that document and just started to give their reactions to it. And there were people who didn't know me well, but I never expected they will just comment on it and say that they felt I'm this kind of guy and everything. They predicted this kind of guy and everything. It felt like no one will be listening to me. And on the same day, August 17th, I started to get harassments because I was silent. The reason for me to being silent was because I'm someone who is sensitive to a lot of things. People who watch me knows how bad I am at handling hate comments and everything. I take it to the heart and it will hurt me for a while, for a few days. But in this moment, I'm getting hated on, not even given a chance to give my side of the story. No one will believe me, and everyone was already picked a side. Seeing all of that made me mentally unstable, not knowing how I can talk to anyone about this. Who can I trust? Everyone I trusted just went against me. So I began to get harassment such as death threats, where people started talking about like how I left India in one day and left to in Japan, because most of my communities know that I am going to Japan because I openly shared it on my streams. And I was doing an event, which was a subathon event called JoqniX, which was for crowdfunding my VTuber model so I can debut in VTuber model. And I had also shared a lot of my journey of learning Japanese and how I'm supposed to go to Japan on July of this year, 2025. But due to some stuff that was scheduled too much. So people thought I had left India. There were people spreading a lot of other rumors that I've just disappeared or I'm silent intentionally, more such like that. I received multiple calls on my phone number. I tried my best to separate my IRL life and my VTuber life as JoqniX. So I have two phone numbers. One is for IRL, which is only given to people who I really trust, who are in my closer circle, and the VTuber number, which are given to VTuber friends I met online and such. Somehow, my VTuber number gets leaked, and also my IL number gets leaked. I get calls on both my numbers by random people, and that started to scare me a lot, to the point that I started getting WhatsApp messages as well, where people are saying like, I don't care if you're in the hospital or not, pick up the call and everything, and they will come find me and such. I started receiving emails as well because of this situation. A lot of opportunities I was given, and people who used to give me assets and support and everything, those were taken back. They seized their assets as well due to the situation, because I was not responding to people because I was traumatized. It hurt me a lot. It made me feel scared to even talk to anyone, to the point that they went far by reaching out to my family. And I don't know how even they get my family's number. The only thing I know that is one of the ways they could get is either they might have traced my number or traced my location somehow, or the VTubers I have met in Pune Comic Con this year on March 7th and 8th and 9th. The VTubers I met on during the Pune Comic Con are Emmanuel, Akamura, Krato, Suzuki Zuriko, Nexi TV, and Himakai from Forest Housecape. They only would know my VTuber number. And also for Emmanuel and Krato, they were the ones who took care of me during my journey to Pune Comic Con. Since Emmanuel and I live closely, we are from the same state. I have visited Emmanuel's family and talked. They had interacted with my family as well. So obviously, they will have my dad's number for Kreto as well. Since Kreto's family took care of me during my stay in Pune or attending the Pune Comic Con, Kreto's family knows my parents' number as well. I don't know if they had done that or if somehow by any other external means they got my family's number. I had to tell my situation, what really happened to my parents as well, because I'm scared if they say something, like actually say that I live here and this and that, it will also hurt and I will be exposing my private life too and putting my family in danger as well. So I told my dad to not take any calls, or if anyone asks about me or JoqniX, do not respond and say that you don't know anything, because they have violated my own personal space and boundaries and even went after my family because they are not able to connect with me because I was afraid to take up my phone calls and everything. And in my Discord server, there were countless of people talking about the situation. And there were people who I called friends come into the server and started fighting with my server members because of some drama or whatever they had in the past. They had started harassing my server members for even talking about it, even though they didn't defend my side about what I did, what people claim I did based on the Mythics document. They started to mention that this kind of spreading awareness is bad without hearing my side of the story and everything. And they just got shunned by people coming from different communities in this INVTuber space, the space I am in. And my moderator, Akiabi, since I was afraid to even talk with anyone, I turned off my phone. I came back after a fresh of mind, turned on my phone. I saw that my moderator even DM'd me saying that if I am being silent, he will post an announcement about it, everything. And he did. He made an announcement with the Mythic Whales document against me, saying the term spreading awareness. Even my own community moderators and other moderators who I've appointed as my YouTube and Twitch mods, they all left and rejoined the server so that they lose their moderator role so they can talk about it. These were the very people I trusted who used to come by to my stream and watch me. I thought these individuals, these people, community members would know how I am and everything, how my personality is and everything. I thought they would at least know that it's not the real truth. There's more to that. But in the end, they all just judged me and picked the side, which was how the mob happened. In the end, on the remaining days, on August 17 and 18, a lot of key people started to judge that Joq is a predator because I was silent. I know I could have just made a single tweet, but I couldn't because the amount of people I trusted and I collaborated with, I talked with, even if I have met them for a little amount of time, I thought they would at least know me a little based on how I am. I even considered them as friends. In the end, they all just picked a side and mobbed me the remaining days. And the drama about me kind of slowly died down on August 19 and 20th. In my server, there was a community member. He was the same guy who had tried to call me multiple times and send me WhatsApp messages. And his team was the one who emailed me about the seizure of their assets and everything. They have provided me with background music. They were the ones who had made fan-made background music for my channel, album of 10, 11 songs. He makes a post saying that they are doing their own third-party investigation on the situation about my side and the victim's side. They were doing their own investigation. I believe Aizen and his team had like a legal consultancy service or something, and that's how they started to dig into this. And I trusted Aizen because he was someone who helped me a lot in the past when I wanted help with my own channel. He advised me in because he knew the business legal stuff and everything for me. Not official or anything, just a community member volunteering to help me. And because of the persistence of Aizen, because he couldn't reach me, I DM'd him. That was the first time me DMing anyone ever since the situation. I DM'd him saying that I'm sorry that I am silent and everything, but please stop doing what you are doing. Because I felt like the way they were going about it, their overreaction to this whole situation, and how I felt like my family was in a danger. I told him to stop with his overreaction and over justice stuff. I told him that I'm writing a statement. It will take a time because I wanted to take my time to fully address the situation, give a whole timeline of stuff. So I've been writing the document on August 17th by the afternoon. I started to collect all the screenshots, everything. I prepared like a total of 4 documents, one consisting of like 300 pages, because I wanted the public to know like the whole context, because this is a serious accusation, and being called a predator, that's a big thing. That's something which can damage your whole career forever. And just the document, by a 10-page document which has only the screenshots from my side and leaving a lot of out of context conversations, it felt wrong how they just used that document and people started believing that. So I wanted the public to know what really happened, how all of that is not really the whole story. That's why I took my sweet time to fully sit down and make document. Lastly, this entire situation, how the community reacted to my situation, seeing that Mythics Wales document against me. It just feels like all these years, what I've ever done, I've brought a lot of people into this community, a lot of Indian VTubers I brought into the IN VTuber server because I wanted them to connect with each other and build good friendships and also collaborate with each other, make content and have fun, have a comfy space. And the way the community, all of them went against me, seeing that one-sided document, which was fully out of context. The very people I trusted and collaborated with multiple times, the way how all of them just blindly trusted that document, the way how all of them ganged up and grouped up to take me down and such. I came to know that these community members of Thailand VTubers, the people I called as friends, they all planned this together. Not just the moderators, Fuji, Kyra, and Celestia knew about this. Some people already knew that a document was being prepared and they just went out to tell everyone to block me before the document by Mythic dropped on Twitter on 16th at 10 p.m. 3 hours ago to people, even in VCs, saying that something's big is going to happen and such. It shows that how much this community has become something destructive and toxic. They'll just band together and take down someone they don't like, fabricating something out of context, and something small is enough for them to see it as a big thing and take me down. Like what happened with me. I feel like I was the easiest target because of how unstable I am, how vulnerable I am. I'm too gullible. I'm easy to fool, easy to scam, etc. People know how I am, my personality and such. And in the end, I feel like I got assassinated. They assassinated my character. Everything I have built for JoqniX. JoqniX is something I wholeheartedly keep close to my heart. It was a childhood dream of mine to be a musician and such, but since I came across VTubers and such, I chose JoqniX to be a VTuber because I loved VTubing, watching VTubers. I wanted to become one. And since at the time no one was actively taking their time and effort to build a space for other Indian VTubers, I volunteered myself to build a space, a community for others, for people who are like-minded and who are from India and are VTubers to collaborate and connect and have a good time in this space because no one initiated to do it, took the responsibility to do it, and I did it. And that's how people kept labeling me as one of the OGs and one of the people behind this community who helped building this community. From the BBC article talking about the Indian VTubers, honestly speaking, the journalist went towards Suzuki first. But since Suzuki was hesitant and felt like that's like a scam or something, someone weird, I chose to talk with that person. And hence the BBC article came out. And there were people who were against me being the one who interviewed for BBC and such. Some people were supportive, some people were having critics of their own. I understand that I have done so much for this community and I still don't recognize my own efforts in this space. And now all of that got shattered into the bin because of this one document and this label people have put me as a predator. And seeing the critics, comments, and such on Mythic's tweet from all the people I blindly trusted, it hurt me a lot. And I can understand how this community will go in the future as well. Like right now, it was me. And what if it was someone else the next day? They will just band together and they will just group up and just target someone else if they have a small little evidence that they did something bad. People make mistakes. We are humans. I don't get why people just take past private matters and weaponize them like this, like they did with me. And I truly feel disgusted how this community has become. Even though I have tried my best to build this community from the ground up, I feel like if I could, I would just destroy it if I was able to, and if I was to go back in time. But I've never let any of this happen because it's not just the community at fault, it's the people behind it. The people, the way people are, etc. That shows a lot, that speaks a lot. People talking behind others' back, being grouped in like in a Discord VCs and talking shit about stuff or talking about drama and talking about teas and everything. And slowly making a list of blacklist of VTubers who are troublemakers and such, and sharing that list to others, saying that not to involve with them and such, they are toxic, this and that. These people are labeling other people as toxic and bad. That's what I've been seeing all these years. They labeled people as bad, such as Meowcat Max and Virtualism as bad. Has labeled me now as bad. They have labeled a lot of other VTubers in this community as bad. Now, after my situation, I've noticed that Mythic Whales and the group of people behind it, like Lord Hadas and such, they all tried to gang up on other members who were INV tubers, who are not involved in the INV tuber space anymore. They're doing their own thing. Shoka and Nito Kugaragi. They tried to attack them as well, labeling Nito as a predator and such. That shows how they are using their power, what they showcased with me, how they took me down, and they are trying to actively take down others they find troublesome and toxic. But I don't get one point out of all of this. What do you get in return from doing such things? Are you really protecting people? This community in this IMVTuber server and this whole community, none of us focus much on the VTubers' real age. Because we are VTubers, we never talked openly about our age. We only would talk about it if we trust the person enough. And take my example, how it was taken against me. Suzuki was 17, Mim was 18, and the documents stated that they were 16 and such. It just shows that how they can take something small and twist it in lies and weaponize it to attack. Final thoughts about the whole situation is I just hope this never happens to anyone. For me, I was the easiest target, but remember, if they had targeted someone who was emotionally unstable and couldn't take all of this, they labeled this predator flag on them. What if that person took their life the next day because of all the hate and everything? That could have been me, honestly, because I was that weak, fragile person who would take everything to the heart. The only thing that helped me to be me and be here in this very moment and move on from all of this was due to the therapy I took. And I'm glad I took that therapy. If I didn't take that therapy, a suicidal person like me who always self-critiques myself and always self-depress, someone who is self-depreciating myself and who's too hard on myself, someone like me had never taken therapy or anything, and I was branded like this. Of course, I feel like I would have done something. And who will be held responsible? My family will lose their son. The internet people, even if they came to know what happened with me, they wouldn't care. They would just move on and just talk about it for a few days and just move on. No one will take the blame. Even though these individuals grouped up together and just attacked like that to me. That's why I hope no one will be the next target. And I hope whatever the state of this community is, I just hope it gets brought to public. I hope people will know how toxic this place has become. If you are a VTuber from India, aspiring one or existing one, if you're not involved in any drama or anything like this, just ask yourself, can you truly trust the people who you are friends with? What if they backstab you like they backstab me? I trusted every single people. I saw them as good friends. Never saw them as acquaintance or anything. I saw them as a good buddy, a good friend. Look at what happened to me. How can you be sure that you won't be treated the same? I thought this community I was building was supposed to be non-toxic and a space where people can just enjoy and we all grow together and have fun. But in the end, it turned into like competitiveness and jealousy and cloud farming and dramas and everything. I didn't want this INVTuber community to follow how the ENVTuber community was following, how they are having a lot of dramas every single day, how toxic that place was. I never wanted that this community I was trying to build and help build to be like that. And now they started to be like that, a toxic, a dramatic place where people will just go drop Google documents online on Twitter just to cancel and stuff. Now the individuals, Suki, Mem, and also the person who posted the document, Mythic, and most of the INB tubers who are friends with all of them, they're just silent after my statement came out. No one listened to my side of the story. No one cared. No one talked much about it. Just read and just moved on. They're silent. I just hope this doesn't happen to the next person they are targeting or something. And I myself, as an ending note, wish to move on from all of this. I want to focus on my career and my future as JoqniX. I will rebuild my whole community from scratch because my Vedi community I have spent 5 years streaming to and doing my best to. The same Vedi community just went against me, all of them. I know a little small percentage of people didn't react much, but they are wanting to hear what I have to say. If you're willing to choose to stay and not listen to the mob, please listen to this video. If not, you can still be the mobster, talk whatever you want, be the critic, like how people judge me and stuff. I wish to not involve myself in this community ever again. I know it will be hard for me to fully raise myself as the status of INVTuber or someone who helped build this space, but still I don't care anymore. I wish to just focus on my future, the future I wish to build with JoqniX, and my community I will be rebuilding from scratch, which is for JoqniX. And that's my whole thoughts and everything I wanted to share in this whole situation. And one more thing I just wanted to say that I made this video because I wanted to give the people the whole truth, not just blatant lies and out of context stuff like the Mythic document did. Understand my statement was not enough. It showed how I was framed and how a lot of things were contradicting Mythic's claim on that document provided by her. Coming from Mythic, I never thought she would not properly research, and like the fact that I have a lot of things to prove my innocence, and I'm glad I took my time to make this video, to make the statement and stuff, and didn't go silent. And I thank everyone who listened till the end on this long video clarifying my whole situation which happened. Thank you for listening. Thank you for taking your time to listen till the end. I wish to see you all in the next time I wish to come back. As a final disclaimer, I want to say that this will be the final time I will address the situation. If anyone wishes to ask me about the situation and talk about the screenshots, then we can do that in front of a judge with proper consequences and actual system. Because I genuinely feel like, and my lawyers agree with me, that I have a genuine case here with proper evidences that can back me up. Yes, I have everything backed up, all the screenshots and conversations in Discord and other platforms The very thing I'm sharing to the public in this video, I have shared that to my lawyers as well. And they also mentioned that I'm the victim here. And I have a strong claim against the toxicity and everything which has happened towards me. I feel like I will win if I take it legally. If anyone wishes to sue me, and we can fight it legally, rather than doing your Twitter canceling posts and document drops and such, do it the proper way. There's a proper system for this. That is the court. And if people are claiming that I'm a predator and such, come fight me in court. Thank you.